Members, please may I have your attention. Please may you be upstanding for the Deputy Mayor, Councillor Kate Knott.
Good evening and welcome to this special meeting of Council. Please be seated. Before we start the meeting, I need to make the public attending aware of the following. There's no public attending. If the fire alarm goes off, please make your way out of the nearest emergency exit and gather at the front of Runnymede Hall. Please bear in mind that the meeting is being recorded and live streamed. Lastly, may I ask all present to please switch your mobile phones to silent. Agenda item 1, apologies for absence. Are there any apologies?
Thank you. We have apologies from Councillors Benson, Campagna, Sage, Thomas, Gibson, Howlett, Palmer and Wimbledon.
Thank you. Agenda item 2, declarations of interest. Members, are there any interests to declare? Agenda item 3, minutes of the meeting held on the 23rd of December 2025. Members, are the minutes of the special meeting of Council held on the 23rd of December agreed? Agenda item 4, medium-term financial strategy 2026 to 27 and to 2029 to 30. Members, we have before us tonight a report setting out proposals and recommendations for the Council's budget for 2026 to 27 and draft budgets for the 3 years after that. The report also contains an annual review of the Council Tax Reduction Scheme, which affects the Council tax base and the annual procurement plan. Councillor Mountford, would you please introduce the report to Council?
Thank you, Chair. Members, the report sets out the Council's medium-term financial strategy, MTFS, for the period 26-27 to 29-30. The MTFS sets out not just a budget, but a clear statement of what this Council stands for. Investment in our communities, protection of frontline services, financial responsibility delivered locally, not dictated from afar. I'm proud to say that this Council is presenting a fully balanced budget for all 4 years of the MTF period. This represents a significant achievement and places Castle Point among a very small number of councils that are able to present a balanced 4-year financial plan. Members, this is not an accident. It is a result of clear political leadership, making tough decisions, and a refusal to accept decline as inevitable. There is one-off use of a general reserve in relation to local government reorganisation. Importantly, the Council does not rely on the general reserve to support ongoing expenditure across the MTFS period. This demonstrates a more efficiently run Council, enable us to deliver more for our residents. The level of the general reserve at the end of 26-27 and in all subsequent years of the MTFS remains above the recommended minimum level of £3.1 million. The Section 151 officer confirms, in Section 12 of the MTFS report, the budget estimates are robust. In Section 6 of the MTFS report, that the general reserve remains above the minimum required level. This is what responsible local government looks like. I would like to place on record my sincere thanks to the Financial Services team for the enormous amount of work undertaken to deliver this MTFS report. In particular, I thank Rebecca, Carrie and Nancy and our Section 151 officer, Lance Wasco, for bringing together this 4-year balanced budget. I also thank every council employee who works tirelessly to deliver high-quality services for our residents, while embracing change to improve efficiency and value for money. Finally, I thank our Chief Executive, Angela Hutchins, the leadership team and the colleagues across the Council for their continued commitment to deliver the best outcomes for our residents. While all budgets carry risk and uncertainty, this MTFS is prudent, responsible and places the Council in the strongest possible financial position. The MTFS reflects decisions already taken and makes appropriate provision for future decisions by Cabinet and Council. Savings will be monitored through the Transformation Board and capital schemes will be subject to individual business cases. The MTFS also includes the largest capital programme in the Council's history, totalling just under £48 million over the next 4 years. For council tax, the Castlepoint Borough Council tax element of council tax for 26-27 will increase by 2.98%. This results in a Band D charge of £298.80 per year compared to £290.16 in the previous year, an increase of £8.64 per year or approximately 17 pence per week. A Band D household pays Castlepoint Borough Council approximately £5.75 per week, which remains the lowest share of council tax among the major precepting authorities. Of the total council tax collected, Castlepoint Borough Council receives 13%. Essex County Council takes over 70%. And for 26-27, Essex County Council has increased its element by 3.95%, resulting in a Band D charge of £1,641.96 compared to Castlepoint's £298.80. Despite historic funding reductions by Essex County Council, and despite this council only receiving a fraction of the funding, we are still delivering. We're keeping street lights on overnight, we're funding community rangers on our streets, and making them cleaner and safer for public spaces. Investment in parks, play areas, and town centres. These are services that Essex County Council has either cut or withdrawn, but we have stepped in to fund them to protect those services. We froze council tax in 2024 and continue to keep increases below 3% while delivering more locally focused services. The Council therefore welcomes local government reorganisation, which will allow all future unitary authorities to manage their own services and finances in a more efficient and accountable way. This Council has demonstrated through successive balanced budgets it can deliver better outcomes for residents while remaining financially responsible. This budget includes the largest capital programme in the history of the Council, with almost £45 million targeted capital investment across priority services and community infrastructure. And there is a further £35.4 million ring-fenced for housing services. Our key investments include £2.5 million for new community improvements, in addition to the £1 million included in last year's budget. In this year, we'll see delivery of that £1 million with a major playground upgrades for Richmond Park and Hadley Recreation Ground, and then in South Benfleet, our first accessible and inclusive playground. We'll also be seeing 2 new multi-use games areas at Woodside Recreation and Thundersley Recreation Ground. There's £20 million investment in new housing schemes to reduce homelessness, increase local temporary accommodation and reduce the reliance on bed and breakfast placements. There's £2.8 million investment in parks, open spaces and the public realm, including playground equipment, pathways, trees and hedgerows. Continued funding for community safety, including 50 new CCTV units with ongoing maintenance costs which are fully provided for. We're investment in leisure facilities, including Waterside Farm Leisure Centre roof replacement with solar panels, a proposed 3G football pitch and further upgrades to the paddocks and Mercury Hall. Digital transformation through a new website and a CRM system to improve customer access and efficiency. A £4.5 million investment in new refuse vehicles and vehicle workshop, including transitioning to vegetable oil fuel to reduce emissions. The £2 million investment in Knightswick Shopping Centre, funded entirely from the shopping centre income, not from council tax. Ongoing support for disabled facility grants, with a record £1 million funded in the current year. We are continuing to support vulnerable residents through record levels of disabled facility grants, enabling people to live independently and with dignity in their own homes. We're standing up for residents. Despite rumours and misinformation, this budget introduces 30 minutes of free parking in key town centre car parks. It does not introduce charges in currently free council-owned car parks. And it maintains free car parking at the paddocks. We are backing local businesses and high streets, not punishing them. Members, in conclusion, this MTF report is one of the most forward-thinking and impactful budgets this council has ever produced. This budget reflects the values and priorities of this administration. It is bold, it is responsible, and is rooted in the reality of what residents expect from their council. Members, we deliver. Castle Point is choosing investment, ambition, and accountability. I would like to thank every member of PIP and SIP here tonight for your continued efforts and support. This is a council that our neighbours are envious of, and you should all be extremely proud of what has been achieved by us all. I would also like to thank our cabinet members, Barry, Mike, Russ, Tim and Tom, and lastly thank our tireless leadership of Dave Blackwell and Warren Gibson. Together we have shown what can be achieved when a council's focused on outcomes, not ideology, and on residents, not bureaucracy. This is a budget we can stand behind and one our residents can trust. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Mountford. Mr Wasco, can you please update Council on any minor amendments to the report?
Yes, thank you, Madam Deputy Mayor. As noted within paragraph 9.3 of the report, at time of writing and publishing, the government had not yet published the final local government finance settlement. I'm pleased to confirm that the settlement, which has come later than usual, was published Monday afternoon. There are some minor differences between the provisional settlement published in December and the final settlement published Monday. First, the government have made changes to their assumptions regarding business rates, which has a consequential reduction for the council's grant income received. However, such is the lateness of the settlement, for the first year the government is providing a new compensating grant, and therefore there is no overall impact in 26-27. The second change is good news for the council, as we will receive an increase in grant funding for homelessness services. The government has recognised the pressures all councils continue to experience and has made additional funding available nationally. Our share will be an additional £46,000 of homelessness grant in 26-27. This additional grant funding replaces some of the council's own funds that would otherwise have gone into this service and will result in £46,000 being appropriated into the general fund. Thank you, Madam Mayor. Deputy Mayor.
Thank you. Councillor Blackwell, will you as leader move the recommendations to the council set out in paragraph 3.1 of the report?
Thank you, Madam Deputy Mayor. Before I do, I would just like to say one or two things. Deputy Madam Mayor, I've sat here for 30 odd years, and I've got to say I'm so proud to be the leader of this independent council to put forward a budget that I've never seen before. We have put forward a people's budget to show people that this is what independence can do to their borough. And our residents will see the benefits of what we'll look. But I can't go any further but say we are so lucky to have a councillor like Councillor Steve Manford. He is our Chancellor of Castle Point. He has done a wonderful job along with the officers. And I think, you know, when we took over this council administration, it was virtually on the last legs of being bankrupt. And we had the difficult jobs, and we've sat through mountains of meetings getting to where we are. And I'd like also to thank my Deputy Leader, Councillor Warren Gibson, who is unwell, unfortunately can't make it tonight, and all my Cabinet colleagues who have worked tirelessly to get where we are. So, Madam Mayor, Deputy Mayor, I'll take great pleasure in moving recommendations set out in paragraph 3.1 of the report. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Mountford, will you second the recommendations?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Yes, thank you.
Members, we have a live motion for debate. Would anyone like to speak on the recommendations? Councillor Langley.
Good evening, thank you, Deputy Mayor. I've just got two questions actually. I noticed there's 500,000 allocated towards Canvey Lake. Obviously, I appreciate that this is down to a cabinet decision, but is this a sort of a one-off project, or is this something that's ongoing throughout the budget? And if we don't spend the whole 500,000, will the shortfall be dedicated elsewhere, or will that continue for Canvey Lake?
Councillor Mountford.
Thank you. Thank you, Madam Mayor, and thank you, Councillor Langley, for your question. It's actually 50,000, not 500,000. And that is just allocated for any unknown costs that involved in what may or may not happen with the lake. There isn't anything formal in there or a plan. It's just a contingency. Hope that answers your question.
Yeah, thank you. I thought we was in a meeting and it said 500,000 the other day. Can I ask the second question? Second question would be, do we have a figure on what we're spending on net zero and carbon reductions and how that compares to our last budget?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I'll refer the question to our Finance Officer. Thank you, Lance.
Thank you. Within the previous budget, there was an allowance for solar panels, which was part funded through grant funding. Those were installed at Waterside Farm. There were no other carbon reduction measures within the previous budget.
No other questions? No. Okay, members, we have 19 recommendations set out in paragraph 3.1 of the report. To make it easier for everyone, I am going to take first those recommendations which are for members to note. Members, our recommendations 3, 4, 5, 9, 11, 12, 13, 14, 16, 17 and 19 as set out in paragraph 3.1 of the report noted. Thank you, members. I will now take the remaining recommendations in turn, leaving recommendation 15 until last. Recommendation 1. To approve the Council's Directorate Service and Policy Line revenue budgets for 2026 to 27, as shown in Table 2.1 of the MTFS. May I have a show of hands for those in favour of the motion? Thank you, Council. That's agreed. Recommendation 2. To approve Table 2.2 of the MTFS and therefore the funding streams that will finance the 2026 to 27 revenue budgets in Table 2.1. May I have a show of hands for those in favour of the motion? Thank you, Council. That is agreed. Recommendation 6. To approve the capital spending plan described in Section 8 of the MTFS, Tables 8.2 and 8.3, in respect of 2026 to 27. May I have a show of hands for those in favour of the motion? Thank you, Council. That is agreed. Recommendation 7. To approve, as required by Section 3 of the Local Government Act 2003 and the Prudential Code for Capital Finance, In local authorities, the Prudential Code, the following prudential indicators as set out in the appropriate sections of the MTFS. May I have a show of hands for those in favour of the motion? Thank you, Council. That is agreed. Recommendation 8. To approve the Statement of Minimum Revenue Provision for 2026 to 27, as stated in paragraphs 55 to 60 of Section 8 of the MTFS. May I have a show of hands for those in favour of the motion? Thank you, Council. That is agreed. Recommendation 10. To approve the various policies and strategies supporting the budget framework and contained within the MTFS, being chapters 7 to 11 of the MTFS. May I have a show of hands for those in favour of the motion? Thank you, Council. That is agreed. Recommendation 18. To approve the Council Tax Support Scheme for 2026 to 27, as set out in Appendix 2. May I have a show of hands for those in favour of the motion? Thank you, members. That is agreed. Finally, in accordance with local authorities, Standing Orders, England Amendment Regulations 2014, we need to vote on Recommendation 15 by means of a recorded vote. Recommendation 15 to approve by way of recorded vote that in accordance with sections 30 and 36 of the Local Government Finance Act 1992, the Council sets out the amount shown in the table below as the amount of council tax for 2026 to 27 for each part of its area and for each category of dwelling. This information is included with section 13 of the MTFS. Ms Worthington, would you please take the vote?
Thank you. Councillor Ainsley, would you like to vote for, against or abstain?
For.
Thank you. Councillor Blackwell.
For.
Councillor Bowker.
For.
Councillor Bredding.
For.
Councillor Brooke.
For.
Councillor Copsey.
For.
Councillor Cortez.
For.
Councillor Dearson.
For.
Councillor Dixon.
For.
Councillor Edwards.
For.
Councillor Fuller.
For.
Councillor Gibson.
For.
Councillor Harbinson.
For.
Councillor Harvey. Councillor Huntman.
For.
Councillor Jones.
For.
Councillor John Knott.
For.
Councillor Kate Knott.
For.
Councillor Langley.
For.
Councillor Lillis.
For.
Councillor McPherson. Councillor McCarthy Calvert.
For.
Councillor May.
For.
Councillor Mountford.
For.
Councillor Payne. Councillor Savage. Councillor Silk.
For.
Councillor Watson. Councillor Withers.
Thank you, Council. That is also agreed. Council, there is no other business for this evening. I therefore declare this meeting closed at 7:24. Thank you all for your attendance and good night.
Please can you be upstanding for the Madam Deputy Mayor?